So next up, we've got Dave Lewis, looking at inclusive capstones. Thank you, Dave.
So, on the grounds of inclusivity, assessing education inequality, capstones is a vehicle to reduce attainment gaps for underrepresented groups of learners. So this work was predominantly done by Stephanie. The picture there, Stephanie is a second-year history student. She was a Q-Steps intern, which is an excellent scheme run by Nuffield, where they give them a 1-week intensive boot camp on stats and then get let loose on a data set for them to analyse. It's ideal for people like me who stats is not exactly my forte. So, as many of you know, at Leeds, we have a portfolio of capstone opportunities for our students. We have traditional research in the same module, so traditional research projects for those who want to go into careers in research or where research skills are appropriate. We have science or industry-focused capstones for those that want to use their science outside of a research environment. And we have social justice capstones for those that want to use their science in the broader community. So we've always thought by having this broad portfolio of opportunities, there is something for every student, that something that really addresses their particular needs or career direction. We've gone one stage further by giving them the choice of assessment tool so they can decide how they wish to be assessed. The question we really wanted to address is it really inclusive? So what Stephanie did was to look at 4 years of historical data on marks, etc., background, to see whether these portfolio of opportunities were inclusive, or did they benefit a particular group of students or particular programs or whatever. So if we look at, first of all, mean marks, and this is data from about 700 students over the 4 years. Out of our different opportunities there was no significant difference in any mean mark, which is great because if you talk to some people in the sector, the lab project is always the gold standard. These more non-traditional approaches are sort of an easier alternative. But really, we've got to think beyond marks. We've got to really think about learning gain. And by learning gain, we mean how much does a capstone increase their the mean mark beyond level 1 and level 2. And so if we look, first of all, at all the other level 6 modules, excluding the capstone, then there is learning gain beyond level 5, which is great because we want students to progress from level 5 to level 6. If we look at learning gain from capstones alone, it's 3 times as much. Again, really singing to what we want to achieve with a capstone, where they're applying knowledge, skills, understanding, etc., from early years to a problem. They're really gaining that understanding. Is learning gain similar for different capstone opportunities? And we can see that it is very similar. There's no one capstone opportunity that stands out and greater learning gain from compared to others. Interestingly, learning gain is actually slightly greater, a trend for the more non-traditional approaches, the social justice approaches, education development, science and society, etc. What about if we start looking at different communities of learners? Now, it's always been said that females do better at coursework. A capstone really is coursework. If we see learning gain between males and females for the capstone, there's no significant difference. What if we start to look at different groups of students? So, blue bars are the majority of our students, white UK students. If we look at UK ethnic minorities, no significant difference in learning gain from compared to the majority of our students. However, there is a significant difference, a greater learning gain for international students compared to the rest of our students. What about widening participation? Again, as the colleague just said from Bath, very similar to us, we have very few widening participation students. But if we look at the majority of students are non-WP students compared to the collective of WP students. No significance in difference in learning gain between two groups of students. So our capstones are not disadvantaging our WP students. We start to break it down to the different groups. Then our students have come in through lifelong learning, our lifelong learning centre, which is our foundation year. Again, no significant difference in learning gain. There is a reduction in learning gain in students that have come through the Access to Leads scheme. So this is where we go into schools to provide support, of course, particularly in deprived communities for students with no background. They get additional support when they come into to the university. Far greater learning gain if we look at International Foundation Year. However, there's only 2 students in this group. So again, we treat it with caution. We'll look more into this in the future as our number of our International Foundation students go up. So this is a preliminary study, but what does it tell us? It tells us that there's the potential of Capstone to decrease attainment gaps, that we really need to broaden our portfolio of opportunities so that there's something for every student, something they can really buy into, something they can really get their teeth into, something they really achieve in. And if we do that, we will enhance degree outcomes and employability prospects of all our students. So what about the next steps? Should we provide targeted support for those groups of students, the ones that come into the Access to Leads scheme? It's a really great article in the Times Higher a few weeks ago that starts to discriminate. The students don't really want that, particularly if they come from that community. So what we've decided to do is actually to shift our focus so we can capitalise on students' prior lived experiences. So whatever background you come from, we can use those lived experiences within your capstone. So our focus this year has been and this coming year, is to develop more team-based social justice projects. So they're working, part of a team in the community that could be their community. So it could be, the community, it could be with NGOs. We've actually taken it one stage further where we have students working on a capstone, or this coming year, on a capstone with students in Africa. So transnational education experience. We did it this year, just working on a grand challenge. UK students working on a grand challenge in Africa. There was a massive increase in cultural awareness for those students. So we're now taking it one stage further. The other thing we've decided to do this year is to move away from defined projects to capstone briefs. Capstone brief is a task. So just an example, the start of the Grand Challenge capstone brief, to create as a team, evidence-driven report with recommendations on how your discipline can provide a solution to a local challenge or issue, so Leeds or Yorkshire, or a grand challenge facing a country or region of continent or UN Sustainable Development Goal. Now, the benefits of this is that different students can bring different expertise into it. They can, they're not in a defined project, so they can take it in whatever direction they want, as the team wants. They can make use of the different team members' lived experiences to really sort of develop this activity. From a module manager's perspective, it's great because instead of having 91 pages of a project choices book, we've gone to 9 capstone briefs for 300 students. It's actually inclusive now. Beforehand, choosing for a huge booklet, they never got through it. So this is actually more informed choice. Now, the university itself is going through a 10-year program of curriculum change, curriculum redefined. We have, as an institution, a previous requirement that every student has to do a final year research project, irrespective of whether you're in sciences, engineering, philosophy, or whatever. They've recognised the benefits of the capstone, the broader capstone project, and so that requirement for a final year research project has now shifted to a capstone project, with the requirement that programs have to offer a portfolio of opportunities. So really building on what I've instigated in the biomass sciences. And again, I've got a Leeds Institute of Teaching Excellence Scholarship to support colleagues across the university in introducing capstones in their projects. But I think as a community, whether we bioscientists, higher educators, whatever, that what we can achieve through Capstones, there is no limits. That we really, at the start of, we really need to change practices to fully realise the transformative and translational potential of Capstones globally. Just sort of finish off. Then some of you know I've got a Capstone Educator Community of Practice. If you want to join that, it's free, just to sort of where we network and share ideas. Please get in touch with me. And again, pre-COVID, I was running workshops on Capstones. Again, now we're opening up. I can also run those workshops again. So just to finish off then, phenomenal collective benefits. The learners, they're going to be equipped with the knowledge, skills, expertise, etc., to succeed in whatever career they want to go on to. Employers are going to get the graduates they need to take the business to the next level, and really sort of huge benefits for society as a whole. Thank you.
A couple of questions on Padlet, actually. So how have you quantified learning gain from level 5 to 6?
It was increasing marks.
Great, thank you. Why do you think students who did the Access to Learning course had a decrease in learning from the Capstone projects?
We don't know, because we need to talk to them. And it's something we actually need to look in further. Basically, I don't know.
Did you look at learning gain in reference to disability or caring responsibility?
We would have liked to have that different data. We were promised it from our central admin. We never actually got it. So if we can get hold of it, then we will look at it. Yeah, we just use what we could get hold of, basically.
Any questions from the audience? Yeah.
So David, when you show that graph, the learning gains for Capstone versus non-Capstone.
Yeah. The non-Capstone was all level 6 modules apart from the Capstone.
So
it's very.
What proportion of those are coursework based versus, say, lecture exam based?
So there is 40 credit Capstone, 20 credit skills module, and the rest is taught module.
Right. So could you see the difference in the other coursework based module or not?
Not really, and it probably wouldn't pull it, because the coursework based module was basically 3 assessments that fed into their Capstone. So an essay, a Python programming exercise, and writing a short critical writing piece. Mm-hmm. So really, it wouldn't really pull out that difference that you're talking about.
Yeah.